When things go sideways, will you be prepared?
Are you still interested in a solar-powered generator? Because pay special attention, because I'm going to do something that until recently we've never done. I'm going to offer this solar generator with 2 times the power, and if you want, you can even make it expandable. And I'm even giving away a free solar panel and an easy optional payment plan in case you're ready to prepare now but need to break up the financial commitment. That is something I can do today while we have these units in stock. It does come with one of these foldable solar panels to make sure that you can charge it even after the power goes out during a storm, like the one that we just had this morning. So you can put your solar panels outside and bring your Patriot powered generator inside, which, by the way, makes no noise, no fumes, and you can use it inside. And there's more free stuff on the webpage, but you have to click the link right now to see it. Now, I don't have time to show you all here what those things are, but I will give you a hint, though, that some of them are our most popular products, and we don't normally give those away for free. But when you grab one of these guys, you will be in the in crowd, and you will get some of those items for free. Now, you don't have to risk a single thing. We are going to send you all of this and all the free stuff with free shipping. And you're going to be able to try it not just for a day or a week or a month, but for an entire year, protected by our 100% satisfaction guarantee for a full 365 days. So you basically can't lose with this offer. But here's the thing, to get this device and to keep all the free stuff that you're going to get with it, you absolutely must click the link right now. Because after today, I can't guarantee that this entire offer, as you've heard it, is going to be online much longer. When we first launched the original Patriot powered generator, it sold out in 48 hours. It wasn't available for months after that, and customers asked to be on a waiting list for this product and to be alerted every time we brought back a little bit, as much as we could. The waiting list kept selling out again and again, and before we could show it to new customers, that went on for a year or more. Now, this Patriot powered generator, 2000X, is more powerful than the old one was. And it has some more free stuff than it came with back then, and the payment plan couldn't be easier. Now, with everything going on in the news this week, I wouldn't be surprised if we had trouble restocking these after they sell out. So get ready with your finger to click, because this video is going away in only a few seconds, and you have to click the link right now to see everything that's included in this offer with the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. And I'm serious, while supplies last. So click the link right now.
Military gadgets are transforming people's conditions and endurance, and here's how. This is what happens when you breathe in more oxygen, and this military gadget makes it possible. It vibrates lung mucus away instantly, increasing your oxygen intake and giving you a super boost in life. Best of all, it is completely drug-free and reusable. It was specifically designed for Special Forces divers to increase their oxygen intake so they not only think clearer, faster, and better, but also dive longer, swim greater lengths, and give their all in extreme conditions. Through no fault of your own, our modern lifestyle creates a surplus of lung mucus. It builds up over time and decreases oxygen intake, making you feel out of breath or have a tight chest. The inventor didn't want to create a drug or invasive procedure to remove the mucus, so he developed this amazing new gadget that gets rid of it all in seconds using simple vibrations. When the Air Ease was tested on new recruits, the results were astonishing. The inventor instantly decided to release it to the public, making it available only on his official website. Over 84% of people over 55 have excessive lung mucus dragging them down. It makes them feel tired, sluggish, and even unmotivated, but there is now a solution. Best of all, it's simple to use. One user even coughed up mucus the size of an egg, which would have stayed in his lungs, growing in size without this device. Afterward, he could breathe freely again. He couldn't remember the last time he'd felt so free. His whole life improved drastically. The device is called Air Ease, and it's saving people nationwide from mucus buildup. But how can you find out if mucus is holding you back in life? If you ever feel tired, exhausted, or have breathing trouble or pain, or if you feel like there is a weight on your chest, then there might be some mucus stuck in your lungs. It blocks the airflow to your lungs and causes these symptoms. Luckily, Air Ease can get rid of the mucus instantly, improving the way you feel and breathe. It doesn't use any drugs or invasive methods. Instead, it uses harmless vibrations that are sent down to the mucus. This loosens it and breaks it up. Your body will react to this and cough it up without effort. The Air Ease is perfect for every person, freeing them from that tired feeling caused by mucus buildup. It quickly became a global sensation for all its life-changing benefits. Physiotherapist Paul O'Brien, the inventor, and his team are doing everything they can to keep up with demand. In fact, you can only buy it online. And today only, you can get yours with a 50% discount to spread the word. But you have to act fast because they have a limited supply. If you are interested in air ease and improving your life, visit the official website and get yours at 50% discount.
Taiwan and Korea, and at the margin, that's the way the markets have been trading. If you look at the price action since China's return from the Lunar Year holiday, as I mentioned earlier, China now, inside China, is up over 7% year to date, led by the AI theme. And that's actually the leading market in the region as of yesterday's close.
Yeah, and we obviously go through cycles here, and we're sort of in a strange phenomenon where it's sort of a hyper-growth, hyper-scale effect.
Hello, this is DrPaulCottrell, and we're doing the Asian market session live. We're live streaming through Rumble and YouTube. YouTube has the dashboard for the Asian session. My understanding is that the Japanese market is closed today, but we'll have the Hang Seng Index and the Chinese market will be open, Australia market's open.
The executive branch of government in terms of saving money, and we're all looking forward to getting not only a budget done for this year, but probably two of them in the Senate, both of which could be combined in the House, as you just indicated. We know that they've got passed what they call the bird bath in the United States Senate. We're working on that right now, trying to get ahead of the game.
Yeah, Senator, thank you so much for your leadership and all your work on this. I know you all have a lot on your plate. I'm going to get back to the two plans in a second because I want to get your take on what the offsets are. But let me first stay on this confirmation story, because now we have this story in the Financial Times this morning about Kash Patel, President Trump's nominee for FBI director. He's apparently been getting scrutinized because he held stock in a group that owns Shein stock. Shein is the Chinese fast fashion retailer, and it's being accused of using forced labor. How significant is this, the fact that Kash Patel had a financial disclosure that he held shares in a company called Elite Depot, which is a Cayman Islands group that, according to UK business records, owns shares of Shein, the Chinese company? What's the problem?
Look, Kash Patel is going to be confirmed. He has met with us. He's the right guy for the job. He comes with two things going for him. Number one, he has a background that a lot of people don't know about because he can't talk about it because of what he's done for national security. And the second piece is he's an outsider coming in. I know they're going to try to paint him in a bad light, but I can just tell you on the meetings that we've had with him, I think there's unanimous consent among the Republican side that this guy is the right guy for the job right now. We want to get him in place. We want to get the rest of the cabinet in place and move forward. Give the president the guys in the right spot, the guys and gals in the right spot.
All right, well, that's good to hear. You said Kash Patel will be confirmed, and why not? Look at his background. Yeah. He was the chief of staff at the Department of Defense. He was deputy assistant to President Trump. As the chief of staff at DOD, his responsibilities included implementing the secretary's no-fail mission with 3 million plus employees. He served as deputy director of national intelligence. He also led President Trump's counterterrorism mission as deputy assistant to the president and National Security Council. So obviously his record speaks for itself. What about the agenda and this idea that you can't come up with offsets? How are you going to pay for everything knowing that 76% of your spending goes to mandatory spending? My question is, do you have to get the axe and start cutting it to mandatory spending?
Yeah, the reconciliation process actually expects that to happen. And so what we are talking about is working in the mandatory side of the budget. We can't get at it with the traditional authorizations you find in appropriations processes. You know, we only normally vote on about 1/3 of what we actually spend, but the reconciliation process allows us to go into the entire budget. And what Chairman Graham has done, and I think he's done an excellent job of this, what he has said is okay, we're going to put the targets out there. That's our job in the budget committee. But then we go back to the committees themselves and say, this is the amount that you can spend, or this is the amount which you have to come up with in terms of cuts. And so all of the folks on our side of the aisle that have ideas, some great ideas about ways in which we can save money, they now go back to the specific committees, make their recommendations, and all of the committees go to work. So we're dividing the workload up among a whole lot of different committees. this is the way the process was supposed to work in the first place.
All right, good. I like it. We're going to be watching that. I know that there were some findings that said that President Trump wants to reduce revenue by $5 trillion to $11.2 trillion over 10 years. He wants to make sure that you do come up with some offsets. But I want to move on because we have a lot of things to cover here with you, Senator. You were part of the debanking hearing last week. Here's the CEO of Anchorage Digital testifying about how the Biden administration went after banks for being associated with the crypto industry, and they tried to debank them. Watch this.
I have at least 2 employees that have debanked because of what they believe is associated with the crypto industry, including one as recently of December of last year.
I want it out.
I like motivating people. I like being told what to do.
Of last year. Finally, I have spoken to dozens of crypto leaders that have been debanked personally or had their crypto companies debanked.
By the way, I also spoke with our First Lady, Melania Trump, during the campaign, and she said she was debanked. She told me exclusively that as soon as she left the White House the first time around, the banks decided that they were not going to bank her anymore, Senator. What's going on?
Yeah, what you've got are some out-of-control regulators. Look, the FDIC, the OCC in particular, both of them, along with the CFPB, but those two in particular have just gone crazy on some of this stuff. And the bottom line is you bring a regulator into a bank, and you go to the bank and you say, I want the list of all the people that are involved in a particular industry. And when we get to that stage of the game, we're going to ask you a lot of questions. And in doing so, there's a possibility that we're going to go after your camel rating. And if we do that, it means it's going to cost you a whole lot of money to continue in business. You're going to pay more for your bonds. You're going to pay, you're literally going to have higher costs if you do business with these particular types of business. And by the way, we're going to continue to follow up on this. And this is the way to harass them. They won't put it in writing to them, but they'll do it at the audits. And we have numerous banks have told us about the heavy-handedness of these organizations. We have to take that out of the regulatory oversight. We've got to get them back to doing what you're supposed to do, which is follow the law and the regulations that are written down that a bank can understand. No more of the stuff of picking and choosing the different, favorable industries or those that are not favorable. The energy industry has gone through this already. Their folks have, when they go in and try to get money in a lot of cases, the banks are telling them the same thing, that they've got regulators in asking extra questions.
Yeah, well, and now we came from the Biden administration and the Obama administration. Let me tell you, we're going to keep a spotlight on this, Senator. Any bank that decides to debank legitimate companies, debank conservatives, we are shining a spotlight on it. And we're going to call it out for sure. That you can, I can promise you. But let me move on to President Trump.
Go by one more thing, okay, and this is really important.
Okay.
Shine the light on the regulators that are forcing the banks to do it. The banks don't necessarily want to do it. They're being forced into it if they want to continue in business with that particular regulator. We've got to focus on the regulators.
That's unbelievable. That's disgusting. And by the way, that's exactly what they did to social media companies during COVID. They bullied them to censor American citizens' discussion. They wanted to know about COVID. They wanted to know about the vaccines. They did the same thing to social media. They bullied them until they censored them. So again, we are shining a spotlight on it. But I got to ask you about the president stripping the security clearances of former President Biden, former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, New York Attorney General Letitia James, New York City District Attorney Alvin Bragg. President Trump also stopped daily intelligence briefings for Biden. Senator, you're on the Intelligence Committee. What do you think of this? I mean, unfortunately, these guys play fast and loose with the law, so I'm not surprised. But what do you think?
If they were actually added to our national security now in retirement, it would be a different deal. I don't have a problem with him taking those away because he's not planning on using their expertise.
All right, we'll leave it there. Senator, it's good to see you.
All righty. Okay, let's go to CNBC here.
previously indicated range of $25 to $25.8 billion. Gross margins coming in 57.50 to 59%, and operating margins 46.5 to 48.5. All of these forecasts were laid out at the full year results at the end of January. There's no change to their full year growth revenue as well. They're predicting revenue growth in mid-20% on year. This is on strong AI demand as well as recovery in non-AI demand, and they expect to outpace the overall foundry market, which is set for growth of about 10%. Okay, as far as January sales are concerned, up 35.9%, let's call it 36, to $8.9 billion. That is the second highest on record. Record was in October when it hit $9.5 billion. Now, what's more important here, what many people are going to be watching is the first board meeting to be taking place in the United States in TSMC's 37-year history. Now, it's going to be taking place in Arizona. Of course, that's where all its fabs are, and it's going to be today, February the 11th, U.S. time. So we know that Fab 1 is already in operation, the 4 nanometers in production, and we're looking out to Fab 2, 2028, Fab 3 by 2030. But could the company announce further investment, another fab potentially, or even an advanced packaging site in Arizona? So lots of questions, and we'll be waiting out on the announcement to come through from TSMC. Now, Hanhai. Also, this is, of course, a big heavyweight in the Taiwan market, and also really dependent on AI for growth. This is the main supplier to NVIDIA for their AI servers. We know they're an Apple supplier as well. So for January sales, revenues of $16.4 billion, that is up 3.1%. They are also grappling with the uncertainty of the Trump tariffs. They manufacture in China, they manufacture in Mexico, also 25 countries in total, in fact, for that of Hanhai. So they're very well diversified, but we're going to be watching how this continues to unfold. The future growth for this company is very much tied to AI servers. Hanhai shares outperforming today, up 3.7%, 180 and change. Just a quick mention of the Hong Kong market here. I don't want to leave us out here because we have been on a tear, really supported by the gains in the China tech plays. This is all on the AI drive. But we also have the tariffs and the Trump impact, the geopolitics. We saw last Wednesday, Hong Kong Postal Service here suspended any parcels going out to the United States. As of today, they have resumed postal services for parcels bound for the United States. This is after they confirmed with the U.S. Postal Service that additional duty will not be imposed on postal items from Hong Kong. So the suspension of accepting postal parcels, that has been lifted. So we are looking at the de minimis shipments. We're also looking at some of the trade-related stocks here in Hong Kong. Of course, that also includes the likes of Lenovo, Tektronix, Li Ning, just to name a few, and we are seeing upside in the market today. Although futures are pointed to a just slightly positive start, we'll be watching out for how this happens. Look at Lenovo shares, ouch, down 9.2% in the pre-market. Let's get a check now with Sam. She's got a preview of what we can expect in the China trade today.
Thanks, Sam. We'll check in with you at the open. Just want to get you across a couple of lines coming out of Canada this morning in response to what we've heard from Trump and these tariffs on steel and aluminium today. So the Canadian industry minister saying that the US tariffs on steel and aluminium, quote, are totally unjustified. They're also saying that they are consulting with international partners on US steel and aluminium tariffs. The response, they say, will be, quote, clear and calibrated. Now, remembering that China has been sending some of its...
There was a plane crash in Scottsdale, Arizona, so we're going to go to live now. They're doing a news update.
Department go out to everybody involved in this. Thank you. No, that wasn't the refusal. That was an immediate transported to a local trauma center in critical condition.
So no one is left on island?
We have one fatality still in one of the planes. They were dead on arrival. Thank you. We're not going to go into specifics. So we're going to turn this over to the National Transportation Safety Board of what patients were in what planes. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll clarify the status. So I'll read it one more time just so you guys are good. One fatality, 2 immediates, which are critical condition, we transport them to local trauma centers. 1 delayed, and then 1 non-transport refusal. They were evaluated and refused transportation to a hospital. So a total of 5 patients. Thank you, guys. Delayed non-life-threatening injuries, but still need to go to a hospital to be evaluated.
Are you able to say were they all treated with anyone injured on the ground?
We're not going to comment on that. All right, thank you, guys.
Can you specify the landing gear? You said the left landing gear was that something that happened before the plane landed or
I don't have any information that can confirm that right now. The National Transportation Safety Board, though, they'll have additional information once they conclude their investigation that will go into those specifics. As far as a future update, we will have a press release that will go out soon from the Scottsdale Airport at some point tonight. We'll be keeping everybody updated about when our operations reopen, but any further information regarding the crash or the incident itself is going to be coming from the National Transportation Safety Board.
Will the fire department be making identifications, the fatal identification, or will that be the TSB?
I'm not going to comment on that. It'll be through the National Transportation Safety Board.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we were just listening in to Scottsdale officials bringing us the latest update following the deadly plane crash that took place at Scottsdale Airport. What we learned is 1 person has lost their life, 3 people are in the hospital, and 1 has refused help. So as we continue to get updates here in Live Now from Fox, we will continue to bring them to you. In the meantime, we are going to step away for a short 2-minute break. Don't go anywhere.
All right, I'm gonna go to CNA.
You need dedicated support from your
Your leader with 30% tariffs on imported solar panels, which mainly came from China. A few months after that, China hit back with up to 25% levies, and this began a trade war. The next day, Washington slapped 25% tax on about $50 billion of Chinese goods. Beijing retaliated with a similar measure. What followed were at least 3 more rounds of tit-for-tat tariffs, putting at risk more than $250 billion of Chinese goods and more than $110 billion of U.S. shipments to China. Despite efforts to iron out the deal, talks fell through and the levies took effect. U.S. firms were also later banned from selling to Chinese tech firm Huawei. And as the trade dispute gained heat, Mr. Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping agreed to talks, but it never materialized for months. Until January 2020, the Phase 1 trade deal was signed, easing the trade war. When former President Joe Biden took over the White House in 2021, he not only retained most of Mr. Trump's tariffs, but also issued sweeping restrictions on semiconductors and chip-making equipment to China. Those curbs were later expanded in 2023 and 2024. And that brings us to last year, where on the campaign trail, Donald Trump touted a plan to impose at least 60% levies on all Chinese imports. Joe Biden took another swipe, raising tariffs on several Chinese goods, including EVs, solar cells, steel, aluminum, and medical equipment. And now, less than 2 weeks after taking office for his second term, Mr. Trump again announced an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods. Those took effect last week. At the same time, Beijing hit back with fresh duties targeting the U.S. Well, still ahead, how markets in the region are reacting to President Trump's tariff moves, plus bidding for control of OpenAI. Reports out of the U.S. suggest an All
right, Elon Musk is trying to buy OpenAI, but Sam Altman is declining the offer. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the great probiotics that I have. You can get it in a powdered version or a veggie cap version. Both are very high quality. I prefer the powdered version because I mix it with my food during the lunchtime. But take it every day. You want to take a good probiotic to bring down inflammation, improve the gut biome. You're going to improve your metabolism, you're going to improve your immune system, your absorption of nutrients will improve, your metabolism will improve, you're going to have a better communication with your liver, and you're going to have a better communication with your brain. With your brain, you'll be able to focus more. You'll also be able to sleep better. So that means that you'll be more well rested. You'll consolidate memory better. But not just that, you're also going to reduce the chances of irritability and depression. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Improve your gut biome. You'll also see improvements with your skin and your hair and your nails. Many bodily systems are directly affected by the gut health. So please get a good gut, get a good probiotic and improve your gut biome. And I have 2 versions of great probiotics that you can get on my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Get the powdered version or the veggie cap version. Use discount 5 and you get $5 off. All right, let's go back to, I want to go back to CNBC here.
So to speak, that was about 10 days ago. Markets were prepping for the Trump metals tariffs to be confirmed, and domestic steel producers got some gains. U.S. Steel, Steel Dynamics, and Nucor all rising in the session. Good pops actually across the board, 5.5% on an average, 5.5%, so to speak. As did aluminum stocks, we will see if this momentum can actually continue tonight with the taxes now confirmed. Cleveland Cliffs and Century Aluminum both posting double-digit gains. So obviously this has been a shot in the arm for the business there stateside. Futures stacking up like this, shaping up like this. Let's just bring that up for our viewers, and we could be in for a bit of a soft start in the implied open, but nothing really to grapple the markets just yet, given that there's so much happened on the trade and tariff front that the markets still need to digest, because it's still up all in the air and is a matter of conjecture. Jake Dollarhide is CEO of Longbow Asset Management, joins us. Longbow Asset Management, sorry, joins us with his take on things. Jay, good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for your time. I'll go straight, because we have limited time, straight to your pick in Amazon. You like Amazon. Now, we had a guest a few days ago, I think it was Tom Forte, who said that Amazon is the best AI play in the market right now. What's your conviction behind Amazon, and how do you see it delivering its AI plans?
Amazon's an amazing company. Do you realize they delivered 9 billion packages around the world last year? It's incredible. So they're not only competing with Netflix and Disney and YouTube in content with Amazon Prime, not only competing with Walmart in retail. By the way, Walmart's CapEx is supposed to be between 22 and 23 billion this year as they look to increase their automation, robotics, and AI in their distribution centers. But Amazon is just everywhere. That they're competing with in cloud with Microsoft and Alphabet. And one thing to do AI, their chatbot is helping to make the retail experience. Rufus, I believe, is the chatbot. It's allowing the customer to say, okay, curate the reviews so I don't have to read all 75 of them. I want one piece of information from the product information, even though there's so much there. It's cutting down returns. They're using AI low-hanging fruit, like I think Apple should be using AI for low-hanging fruit for its applications. They have big picture AI plans, but they also have very practical AI plans that are already making the retail shopping experience that much better for its customers and cutting down returns and making it more profitable as they look to deliver maybe 10 billion packages this year.
10 billion packages this year. What would that mean for the stock, which has already seen a 33% run in the last 12 months at 233? From a valuation standpoint, how is it stacking up?
I think Amazon is a little rich compared to the likes of Alphabet and Apple, which I think have, for a variety of reasons, Apple's just seen. I mean, there was actually a seller, right, 2 weeks ago before the DeepSeek phenomenon was disclosed, The Apple was actually considered, not having any AI presence or any AI assets or any AI future. I just think Amazon presents, despite its valuation, I think it's got a much better valuation than, say, NVIDIA or Microsoft or AMD. I think it's diversification of businesses. Allow it to say it's not a one-trick pony. It's not just disrupting retail. It's not just cloud. It's making investments in its own AI, and it's partnering with the likes of Anthropic and other AI players into AI search, and continuing to make Prime a very good product that they want to continue to grow. And I think that's important. I think we'll see additional opportunities within Prime for the like of the customer.
Got it. We just have a minute to wrap up. I'm afraid we were tight on time today, Jake. But what's your call and conviction thesis behind the McDonald's?
McDonald's is value. McDonald's is coffee. One of the reasons Starbucks is struggling, it's not because of Dutch Bros or people making coffee at home. It's because McDonald's is actually doing coffee like Starbucks used to do coffee. They're making an experience. It's caused commodity at Wendy's and Burger King and Chick-fil-A, but McDonald's is doing it right. And then the loyalty program, that is huge. They saw 50% growth in My McDonald's Rewards, and they saw 30% sales growth in the loyalty customers. Overall, McDonald's only increased sales by less than 1% from $129 billion to $130 billion. That's why the earnings fell short today, but the stock was up 5%, because I think people thought earnings were going to be a lot worse.
Got it. Jake, wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you very much. And I'm afraid just the time that we have for you. But thank you very much for your insights and your recommendations. That's one conversation on the show. But coming up, we will keep our eyes peeled for the Hong Kong and Mainland China markets open. They're coming soon.
Okay, Hong Kong's opening up in about 4 minutes or so. Let me just do a market update here. The S&P 500 futures is at 6,076. The pound to the USD is trading at 1.23. Natural gas futures is trading at 3.4. Gold futures is trading at 2,954.5. Brent crude is trading at $75.98 a barrel. Copper futures is trading at 4.69. And the Japanese market is closed today, and the Hang Seng will be opening up shortly. All right, with that, I want to go to Cudlow. He interviewed Art Laffer.
Not so much switching gears. I want to talk this a little bit here. Let's bring in Claudia Tenney, my great friend Claudia Tenney, and I want to bring in Art Laffer, former Reagan economist, co-author of The Trump Economic Miracle. Claudia, I want to just give you a quick shot. I want to talk about tariffs and other things with you and Art. Thank you both for doing this. We appreciate it. But you heard John Yoo, who's a very good constitutional lawyer and a former senior Justice Department aide, and he's basically rebutting all of the nonsense about unconstitutional this and unconstitutional that. And Mr. Trump can't have audits of his own agencies, and he can't find out and weed out fraud and stop it. I mean, you heard John. What do you think about this? What are your colleagues thinking about this?
Actually, Larry, I thought it was a wonderful discussion. He's brilliant. I love hearing him. He's exactly right. I was a constitutional lawyer. I actually tried cases and brought cases in federal court. But I wanted to say, just on the fun side, Larry, I'm so glad when you were standing next to Alexander Hamilton, you didn't get shot, and we still have Larry covered today. So.
I ducked. That's very touche, Claudia. Touche. Arthur, Mr. Trump has full confidence in Elon Musk. He's going to let Elon roam far and wide. It's perfectly legal. It's perfectly constitutional. And they're going to do a lot of government trimming. And it's just what the doctor ordered, Art. And in economic terms, I think if you try to put it in the supply side framework, don't you think it's pro-growth? After all, the government's gotten out of hand, the regulations have gotten out of hand, and the spending is going to places that it should never have gone to in the first place.
I totally agree, and impoundment of funds makes perfect sense too. Now, I was in the Nixon White House, if you'll remember, back a million years ago when the impoundment rules came in. You know, they were put in after World War II, after the Germany and Japan surrendered. Truman impounded the funds because we didn't need to build and construct all those weapon systems that had been built. Impounded those funds, and that was a perfectly appropriate use of impoundment. And if you look at it today, what DOGE is doing and what Elon Musk is doing is what every government department and agency should be doing on its own. Finding efficiencies, finding waste, getting rid of waste, abuse, and fraud. It's just wonderful. And when you do that, you not only accelerate growth, you increase the quality of the growth itself. So it's a win-win-win across the board. And I don't know why anyone would want more waste, more fraud, more abuse, and prohibition on people finding those misuses of funds. It just makes no sense.
Now we'll switch gears, Claudia. An important announcement, really, double announcement, but President Trump is basically saying he's not going to use a universal tariff, the so-called ring around the collar, that instead he's going to use reciprocal tariffs. That is, if you tax me, I'm going to have to tax you. But if you lower your tax on me, I will lower my tax on you. I say that's a path to free trade. But he also wants to renew his 25% tariffs on the imports of steel and aluminum. Claudia, what do you make? You're on Ways and Means Committee, which has a lot to do with trade. What do you make of all this?
You know, I think that's a really interesting point, reciprocal trade versus universal, reciprocal tariffs versus universal tariffs. I like the idea of actually, it does sound almost like a free trade agreement. It's almost like without a document. But I do think that these tariffs have shown that we actually increase U.S. production and we actually bring our economy back with aluminum and steel. And the only thing is, I think I talked about this last time I was on, Larry, is I'm a little worried about some of our copper fabricators and our ability to get them up to speed in time. They all are for it. They like the tariffs. They like the idea of bringing our supply chains back. But sometimes when you're dealing with commodities and you're dealing with small businesses and like sort of legacy businesses, where I'm in upstate New York, where we have thousands of jobs with people producing and fabricating copper, from high-tech stuff to like the size of a human hair for the medical technology, to high-grade industrial use for the military and for other building uses. So I'd like to see a universal tariff for certain things, but I like the idea of this reciprocal tariff. Sound like a good idea. It sounds like something that we could almost like a negotiating, and it gives us a little more room for flexibility. And I think that's what Trump's always looking for, is a way to negotiate and get flexibility, and also to stop us from getting taken to lunch by the World Trade Organization and some of these countries that China is manipulating the system and working around them to get products in here by violating those laws. So I think it gives that country confidence in the United States and the ability to actually engage with us as opposed to dealing with China, which is what these countries really want in the end.
Yeah, Arthur, I can make a case that reciprocal trade leads to free trade. I mean, I think that in the back of his mind and his heart, I think President Trump has always believed that. I wrote a couple of op-ed pieces before G7 meetings. He signed off on them. I made that point. Reciprocal trade can lead to freer trade for sure. What do you think, Arthur?
I think totally. I mean, well, he is well aware that these other countries have much higher tariffs on our products than we have on their products. And if you look at the Committee to Unleash Prosperity notes this morning, it's every single country has higher tariffs on our exports to them than we have on their exports to us. And if it's reciprocal, if they cut their tariffs down to our level, that would be really amazing. But these mercantilist ideas that exist in these other countries, he needs to threaten, he needs to do this to bring it down. I had conversations with him, Larry, going way back to 2017-18, when he said this is a way of getting free trade. And I think he's totally right. He scares the bejeebers out of me, to be honest with you. I cringe, I worry, and I don't. But he delivers on it every single time so far. And I fully back what he's doing on having them lower their tariffs to match ours. That's reciprocal trade agreement leading to freer trade.
Claudia Tenney, another subject, blessedly, the new OMB director confirmed by the Senate, my friend Russ Vought, he is closing the CFPB, Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, which didn't protect anybody except Senator Warren and her friends, and basically terrorized banks and financial institutions trying to make various loans. This was a terrorist organization, and they're closing it down. President Trump directed Russ Vogt close it down. Russ is the right guy to close it down, and I'm hoping Congress will back up Russ Vogt on this.
I love this move, Larry. I used to serve on the Financial Services Committee, and Jeff Henserling is probably, singing to the choir somewhere. He is so excited about this going away. It is a terrorist organization in a way, financial terrorist organization. What they do is they prevent banks from engaging in what they're supposed to do, assessing their own risk, protecting their customers. They're getting in the way of the ability of banks to be able to do that. That's why we've seen such a small number of local and community banks left. All we have are the big giants. They really hurt the banking industry. They've taken the diversity and the stratification away, where you have all kinds of banks to do great resources for clients at every level, whether they're small, small lenders up to the small or borrowers up to the largest borrowers. I love this idea, and as someone who has been a lawyer to banks and worked with banks and love community banks, but the larger banks serve a purpose too. I love that they're doing this totally useless organization. It is also duplicative. A lot of other agencies already do that. We don't need them. Let's close it and walk everybody out the door. I'm really happy about that.
And Arthur, if you keep going this path, this is deregulation at its finest. As Claudia said, this was a make-believe organization. This served no purpose at all. It was stopping business loans, personal loans, payday loans, credit card loans, putting their noses into everything, as though the Federal Reserve and the controller of the currency and the FDIC, as though we don't have enough regulators to begin with. This is another one, Arthur. You know what? This goes with the Elon Musk stuff. Put it as a supply sider. This stuff is pro-growth. It removes the shackles on business, it seems to me, and it's pro-growth. Give you the last word.
I think it is pro-growth, and I think the markets are seeing it as pro-growth, Larry. As I mentioned to you earlier, the real rate of return on capital has popped up in the last couple of years dramatically from being a negative number to a positive number. The outlook for the economy looks really great according to the bond market. Inflation's not picking up, and real growth is coming in. That led to higher interest rates, but honest to goodness, everyone is expecting this economy to do well, and I think it's because of deregulation, it's because of tax cuts, and pro-growth monetary policy once we get control of the Fed.
Yeah, the thing is, the deregulation is already beginning, and that's what these audits are all about as well, and that's what this closing down unnecessary regulators. Anyway, you're both fabulous, Art Laffer and Claudia Tenney, House member from upstate New York. Terrific stuff.
Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the omega-3. This helps to improve your cardiovascular health. It'll bring down LDL levels and increase your HDL levels, so you are improving your total cholesterol. Also, omega-3 helps to reduce the stickiness of your red blood cells to prevent overclotting. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the omega-3 to help with your heart and your cardiovascular health. Vitamin C and magnesium, great to boost up your immune system. You should be taking this every day. Drink it with filtered water. If you're not feeling too good during the cold season, take a double dose, drink filtered water with it. And also, make sure you take every day magnesium and zinc to boost up that immune system. If you're not feeling well during the cold season, take 1 dose in the morning and 1 dose in the evening. Make sure you drink filtered water. But if you're feeling normally and you're fine, take just 1 dose per day to boost up your immune system. Make sure you drink it with filtered water. All the orders on my store, if you use discount 5, you can get $5 off. All right, let's go to. I want to hear. Let's listen about Starlink in Pakistan here.
About national security concerns, controversial comments from Mr. Musk, and a potential Chinese rival are complicating things. Here, Mustafa, with more on what's on the line.
Mohammed Asghar is a 50-year-old food delivery worker in Islamabad. The sole breadwinner in a family of 4, Asghar says Pakistan's repeated internet disruptions have hit him hard.
70% उसमें हम लोग लॉस में गए। बिल्कुल ही नेट नहीं है तो आप काम नहीं कर सकते।
he relies on his phone to receive orders from restaurants. When there's no internet, orders are missed.
थोड़ा सा भी कोई मसला हो गया तो मना कर देता है कि यार ये ऐसे शिपमेंट वापस नहीं लेंगे तो उस सूरत में सम टाइम हमारे साथ ये ज्यादती हो जाती है एज कंपनी की तरफ से कि वो राइड जो है वो राइडर के ऊपर पड़ जाए.
Pakistan's mobile and broadband internet speeds are among the world's lowest 10%, according to web testing and diagnostics company Ookla. IT experts blame aging infrastructure in Pavagad's for the problem. Enter Elon Musk's Starlink satellite internet service. It's awaiting the government's green light to launch in the country. Starlink promises faster speeds and improved reliability, even in remote locations for millions of people here.
It will, in fact, is of course better connectivity. It is going to be something which is going to be in sync with Pakistan's digital Silk Route, and also getting the e-commerce up and going. It will better connect Pakistani market with the US market.
But there is the issue of cost. Starlink can be expensive, going by global rates. A one-time hardware setup fee of nearly $400 and a monthly subscription rate of $126 is steep in a country where the average monthly income is under $300. It helps that Starlink isn't the only satellite internet service provider eyeing this market. Other companies awaiting approval include China's Shanghai Spacecom, potentially giving options to Pakistanis.
The more companies you have offering services, the better it is for the country because you have more choice, you have more variety, and when they're competing, they try to decrease their prices to capture more of the market chunk.
But Pakistan's internet woes isn't just because of slow internet speeds. Government blockades are a contributing factor, according to VPN reviewer top10vpn.com. It identified 18 instances of deliberate internet shutdowns last year, citing elections, information control, and protests. The disruptions cost the economy an estimated $1.62 billion last year, more than civil war-torn Sudan and Myanmar.
Could satellite internet services bypass blockades? Probably, but IT experts here tell CNA it's unlikely to happen if these companies want to operate in Pakistan. Starlink has come under scrutiny in neighboring India for allegedly being used in criminal activity and to sidestep India's internet shutdowns.
Also complicating matters, Elon Musk comments linking Pakistanis to Asian grooming gangs in the UK involved in sex abuse cases. This has drawn sharp criticism from lawmakers, including condemnation from the country's Foreign Office and calls for Musk to apologize. But the need for internet speed may win out yet. Pakistan said approvals for these satellite internet companies are likely to come within 6 months. Until then, the future of its internet hangs in the balance. Hira Mustafa, CNA, Islamabad.
Well, the Greek island of Santorini has been grappling with continued seismic activity. A popular tourist destination was hit by a magnitude 5.3 earthquake on Monday, the strongest yet since tremors began in January. Hundreds of low to moderate quakes are still rattling the island, a phenomenon that seismologists say is unusual, even though the region is no stranger to seismic and volcanic activity.
Santorini resident Victoria Rusu is terrified about the hundreds of small earthquakes continuing to rattle the Greek island. She survived the deadly 1956 earthquake, which devastated much of Santorini, and memories are resurfacing.
Την ημέρα του σεισμού ήταν κάτι το τρομακτικό. Άνοιξε το σπίτι από πάνω, δεν ήταν θόλος. Πήρε τον μικρό αγκαλιάκι με ένα από το χέρι, ξυπόλυτη με τα νυχτικά, τρέχαμε, κατεβήκαμε στην προβίτα.
She remembered sleeping down there on the ground for several nights. Another survivor of the 56 earthquake, Yannis Renieris, recalled the panic that gripped the island at the time. He told Reuters that, like then, he's afraid of what lies ahead.
Εκεί δεν πέρασε. Τώρα το πρόβλημα είναι και πόσο θα κρατήσει και πού θα πάει και τι θα γίνει, αυτά τα βάζω.
Santorini entered a state of emergency last week due to the wave of quakes rocking the island, forcing over 10,000 people to evacuate. Greece is monitoring the increased seismic activity and has deployed the army. While no serious damage has been reported, scientists warn the quake could persist for weeks. This could spell disaster for tourism as luxury hotels hang off slopes prone to
I
landslides.
could be wrong on this. I could be wrong on this. I'd have to research it, but my memory serves me that there is a Canadian filmmaker. His moniker is the Naked Archaeologist, all right? And he worked with Cameron to do a documentary on the history, the archaeological history of the Exodus in the Bible. My understanding is that they linked Santorini to the actual biblical event, and that there was I think it was Santorini, and there was a volcanic eruption that took place that led to fire and ice that fell down in Egypt. So it's an interesting documentary. It's about the Exodus from Egypt, but it goes, I think it's 2 hours long. This was done more than 10 years ago. I'm more than 15 years ago, I think. I think his first name's Jacob, but he's a Canadian filmmaker. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Santorini that caused it. So why is this important? Well, I've been saying that we're living through biblical times, right? And that the plagues in Egypt weren't all done in a very short amount of time. It took throughout 1 year to happen. So we are living through, I think, multiple plague kind of events in multiple years that will lead to a mass exodus out of Egypt, but it's going to be a global exodus because of most people are enslaved, but there's going to be this global exodus that takes place. So I'm not surprised that Santorini is quaking a little bit. Now, is that the event? No. But I'm sure when there was the volcanic eruption, if it was Santorini blowing up back in the biblical times, I'm sure there was rumblings in the earth beforehand. So we may be getting a signal that there's a potential big event coming. That's just my take on it. Now, I'm pretty sure it was Santorini that the Naked Archaeologist was focused on as, you know, one of the major events in geological history that's tied to biblical events. Okay, with that said, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the structural nano silver. You can get it in the tube form or in the quick dispenser. Have some available for your household, for your work, just in case you need it, because you never know when someone around you is sick and you want to apply it on your hands, around your mouth, around your eyes, around your nose, around your ears. Lightly coat your nostrils, create a barrier, and neutralize. It stays active for 5.5 hours. It's a dual purpose product. It'll help to heal a cut, a wound, a minor burn, and you can use it as a skincare. You can apply it on your skin and then exfoliate later. A great way to do this is to put it on your skin before you go to bed, and then when you wake up, exfoliate, and then your skin's clear. And it's a great way to do an everyday or every other day skincare. But please be prepared just in case you need it, because you never know. Let's say you got a cut and you need to apply the gel on there or whatever. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the structural nano silver gel. Also, for ones that shave, if for guys, after you shave, you can put the gel on your face and it'll soothe the shave. So you can use it as an aftershave. Females, if you're shaving your legs, put this structural nano silver gel on your legs after you shave, and it'll soothe the legs and prevent and heal razor burn. So please pay attention to what I have to say. I sell lots of products that are very high quality, that are dual purpose. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the structural nano silver gel. Use discount 5 and get $5 off. Also, a great product that I have that's a major pillar of my core protocol is turmeric. Turmeric brings down inflammation. And when you bring down systemic inflammation, when you bring down chronic inflammation, what happens is you're boosting up your immune system. In addition, when you're bringing down inflammation in your vascular system, you're reducing the chances of building up plaque. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, get the turmeric. This also is an antioxidant, so it's going to soak up free radicals. Use discount 5 on any order, and you'll get $5 off. I've been trying to find ways to get the products in your hand at different price points so you get healthy. So follow my lead, take the supplements I take, listen to how I stack these things for different systems, and follow suit, do the same thing, and you'll get healthy. It's a holistic approach. It's about proper supplementation, proper diet, proper exercise. You gotta do some resistance training, you gotta do some cardio, do a lot of walking, watch what you eat, all right? Do some balancing exercises, do some stretching exercises. Those are all very important. If you just weightlift, that's not good for you. If you just do cardio, that's not good for you. If you just stretch, that's not good for you. You got to do them all. All right? Let me repeat, you got to do them all. It's a holistic approach. And you have to train your mind. You have to learn new things. Read, write, and talk to people in the real world. And what's going to happen is you're going to be activating these neurons, and you're going to get stronger, and you're going to have more energy. And so when you get into your geriatric years, you're going to have more vitality. Digestive enzyme complex, really important. If you're 40 plus years of age, you have a declining pancreas. I don't care how healthy you are. I'm very healthy, and my pancreas is declining because of my age. So you need to pay attention to that. When your pancreas starts to decline in performance because of just normal aging, you're not producing enzymes and the insulin and the chemical signals that your body needs from your pancreas. Digestive enzyme complex helps to break up carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. So it has enzymes in there to break up your food and reduce the load on your pancreas. So that's really important, all right? If you're an athlete, older or younger, you'll also benefit from taking digestive enzyme complex because your pre-workout fuel or your after-workout fueling needs to be digested. So taking the digestive enzyme complex will help to break up that food and allow you to absorb and recover from your workout. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, get the digestive enzyme complex. If you're an athlete, or even if you're not an athlete and you're just getting older, this works really well. Reduce the load on your pancreas.
When it comes to valuations, et cetera, South Korea was a big underperformer last year. Taiwan was a big outperformer. And so I think, there's a little bit more leeway in terms of valuations for South Korea. But generally, again, looking at the more domestically focused economies and also looking at strategies which are uncorrelated and actually can gain alpha despite the tariff situation. We can find these in things like liquid alternatives, which is a relatively new push for us here in Asia.
Okay, so sounds like different fortunes for different countries here in Asia because of those tariffs. Thomas, thanks for your insights today. Thomas Hall there, head of APAC iShares investment strategy at BlackRock.
Energy diplomacy will be in the spotlight in South Asia as Indian Prime Minister Narendra.
Trump says cancel ceasefire if all hostages aren't returned by Saturday. What's going on here? This sounds like breaking news here.
Or about there might be a strategy. What strategy is there?
Right, exactly. So as most of us noticed, we watched what happened on Saturday, this hostage release. Most of these, all of the hostages that were released that day, they looked malnourished. They looked like they had been through hell, essentially. And the public outcry that came from that, not only from Israel, but from the international community, we started hearing a lot about get the hostages out now, all right? Let's get all of them out. We don't need to wait. Israel does not need to wait anymore. So there was a lot of talk about that. And like you, like me, like everybody else, Hamas, they read the newspaper. They watch what's going on in the news. They take the Israeli public's temperature. They want to see how the Israelis react. So what I suspect here is that Hamas, they're trying to leverage this outrage, all right? They want to get as much as they can out of this hostage situation, out of this hostage deal. So what they can do here is, since they know that there's pressure on the Israeli government to get all of the hostages out because they are malnourished, because they are weak, because they may perish, what they can do is add more pressure to the Israeli government. But how do they do that? By declaring this postponement of a ceasefire, all right? So when the hostage negotiations, the hostage transfer, and by doing that, also what happens is that they can pressure the government to get more out of the Israeli government. Hamas can do that just because they understand that Netanyahu is under this pressure from the Israeli public, and of course the families of the hostages. So I think that's very important here. And that's only just one possibility here that Hamas may be doing, but it just doesn't seem. It seems a little off that they're doing this right now, that they're postponing this, that they're creating problems. Of course, they've said it's due to certain issues that Israel's not implementing. But let's be honest here. I think they're just making up excuses. I think there's a strategy at play here, and Hamas wants to extract more concessions out of the Israeli government by withholding these hostages a little longer, because they know that the Netanyahu government is under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that is so very interesting to know. And I think we were speaking to you or your colleague, Jonathan Shanzer at the FDD, when this ceasefire first went into place, talking about once they got the hostages back, they spoke to them, they saw how they were treated. That could change the complexion of the ceasefire. And you're seeing it in real time happen right now there. So that's very interesting. Let's get into some more comments made by President Trump about another component to this. Of course, he was talking about the fact that Gaza and Palestinians may be moved out of that region to be rebuilt. Of course, last week he floated his plan for the U.S. to take control of Gaza, turn it into the, quote, Riviera of the Middle East. And he says Palestinians now wouldn't have the right to return to Gaza. In your eyes, what would that look like? Is that even a real possibility?
Right. Again, I think it's, I would describe it as a surprising statement. However, I think what we've been hearing a lot about in recent weeks, especially in the last week or so, is this type of what's been coined a lot as out-of-the-box thinking. But nevertheless, I think what President Trump is trying to do, he's coming up with these scenarios, and he's strategizing these scenarios to compel actors in the region, Egypt, Jordan, for example, to take on a greater role, all right, to support the Palestinians. I think they've done some through the war, these countries, right, with aid, but it hasn't been enough. And I think that's what President Trump is trying to do, or to compel these countries to do something more. So he's coming up with these plans, making public statements about them. Can it happen? I think it'd be very difficult to move more than 1 million Palestinians out of Gaza. And I can tell you right now, there's about a dozen Palestinian factions, armed factions in the Gaza Strip, that will do anything they can and everything they can to make sure that does not happen. So there's a lot of obstacles ahead if this plan is implemented. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And some strong words, working very quickly, working in haste there, President Trump, as he does to compel, like you said, other nations to get maybe more involved. I do want to ask you, because also in those comments last week, President Trump did not rule out U.S. Deployment, people on the ground there. How would that complicate the region, just the optics of having boots on the ground for the U.S., but also, like you mentioned, with those other factions? Is that something that would complicate things very much so?
Yeah, I mean, it would make things more difficult. I think it would, again, as I mentioned earlier, it would compel armed groups, not only just Hamas, but there are groups that are aligned with Al Qaeda, for example, in the Gaza Strip. There's groups that are aligned with the Islamic State, and they would target American troops if they were in Gaza. Absolutely, and some of these groups, as I mentioned, either the ones that are aligned with Al Qaeda or Islamic State, they're not aligned with Hamas. They do what they want, all right? So even if Hamas says don't target American troops, they're not going to listen. So nevertheless, yes, it would complicate things. And what I would be concerned about too is not only just is what's happening with the actors in Gaza, but outside actors, all right? In Egypt, in Jordan, Iraq, in Lebanon, they're going to try to take advantage of this or leverage this to attack U.S. troops, to attack Israel. So again, yes, it does complicate things. U.S. boots on the ground in Gaza would make things difficult for sure. So again, right now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen. All right, I think there's a lot of communicating that needs to be done between this administration and actors in the region. And of course between Israel and the United States. So we have a lot, there's still a lot to go. There's still a lot ahead of us, all right? So we'll see what happens again. But yes, it will complicate things greatly if American troops are on the ground in Gaza.
Yeah, a lot of different scenarios that we're running through. We don't know how many of these will eventually be realities. My last question before I let you go, because we've covered quite a bit. But they do have the King of Jordan in Washington, D.C. to meet with President Trump. What do we envision this meeting looking like given the circumstances of the region? What do we expect to hear from them?
Right. Well, there's quite a few complications there, or complicating factors there. Right now, Jordan, they've had some issues for the last few years. I think Iran, for example, is trying to exert its influence in Jordan. What I mean by that is activating proxies that may be within the kingdom, also on its borders, to essentially foment violence in the kingdom. Also, Jordan relies heavily on American aid. Also, of course, it has a peace treaty with the Israelis. So I think it's in Jordan's interest to keep a stable relationship, not only with the United States, but with Israel. So I think that those are some discussions that are going to come up. Also, I think which is very important as well, is that Ahlam Tamimi, who was one of the participants who participated in the Sbarro suicide bombing, is actually a resident there in Jordan. And the United States should try to extradite her. I know her and the families of the victims of the Sbarro bombing have been trying to get.
Trump fires top ethics official overseeing conflicts of interest.
I think that's another subject that's going to come up. So again, a lot to talk about. And of course, like we spoke about before, the Palestinian issue. Will the Jordanians take in Palestinians? They've said they wouldn't, but it's a different thing when it comes to conversations behind closed doors. So we'll see.
Yeah, a lot to get to, a lot that we talked about just in a short amount of time, Joe. Thank you so much for your perspective, for your insight. We appreciate your time, and potentially in just a week's time,
please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the resveratrol. This is something that I've been taking for decades. Very important. Resveratrol is extremely important to take, but it works the best when you couple it with C60, NAD+, or ubiquinol. It's an antioxidant, so it's going to soak up free radicals. It's going to get rid of cells that need to die off, but also resveratrol will help with mitochondrial health, and it will help to boost up your ATP levels. So it's really important to take. It's part of my anti-aging protocol. I've been doing this for a long time. Again, it stacks really well with C60. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. The link is in the description of this video and all my videos. NAC is something that I've added to my stack. NAC was added to my stack because it brings up glutathione levels. You need different pathways to soak up free radicals. The more free radicals you soak up in these different pathways, the better off you are in slowing down the aging process and reducing that stress response in the cell. All right. Now, NAC also will help to detoxify your liver and your kidney, and NAC helps to calm your central nervous system, reduce anxiety. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get NAC. It's a great product, high quality. Take it every day. Now, since we've been talking about detoxification, you can detoxify your body with zeolite. Zeolite will remove heavy metals, toxins, and chemicals from your body. It will attach to the toxin or chemical, and it'll allow you to urinate it out in about 6 to 8 hours. You should be taking this every day. How it works is you just take 2 small drops underneath your tongue. Drink the filtered water, do that every day, and it's taking out these chemicals, including forever chemicals, including PFAS. So also, some people prefer to do a detox maybe once or twice a year. How you do that is that you take about 4 or 5 small drops underneath your tongue, drink the filtered water every day, do that once a day, and then what will happen is that once you use up the whole bottle, then you do that once or twice a year. All right? But it is better to do a maintenance each day because you're releasing throughout the whole year these toxins. But you also have to clean your environment of harmful chemicals and filter your water and stop eating processed foods because processed foods have a lot of chemicals in them. All right, let's go to live now here.
Hey, again, so you're seeing literally right now, this is from moments ago, and this is not live. These undocumented migrants deported from the United States, they left on a plane from Fort Bliss, they just landed there in Caracas. Now remember, the United States and Venezuela broke relations in 2019. And at the time, Maduro's government had refused to accept deported citizens. This was in Trump's first term. Although they did resume some of the deportation flights during the Biden administration for a very brief time. Now remember, Rick Grinnell, he's the special envoy for missions in the United States. He was former U.S. ambassador to Germany. He was former acting director of national intelligence in Trump 1.0. He was just in Venezuela last week. He returned to the U.S., remember, with those 6 Americans who have been wrongfully detained by the Maduro government. Now, in authorizing the flights, the U.S. Is sending these undocumented migrants back to a nation, of course, run by a quote-unquote autocrat who has spent years imprisoning political opponents. And remember, in July of last year, what many in the Western world regard as a fraudulent election, Maduro stayed in power, and he will stay in power for yet another term. Remember, the United States did not recognize the outcome of that election. We recognize the opposition challenger as the rightful winner of that election, Edmundo Gonzalez. You remember his name. We've covered this story many, many times here on Live Now from Fox. All right, in the meantime, we're moving around a lot on this very busy Monday. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's go out now live. We do have what appears to be a SpaceX launch shaping up there. You see on the tarmac. This is a live picture. We got about 2 minutes, 50 seconds until blast off here. Let's put this up.
All right, 2 minutes before blast off.
Better see.
2 minutes and 30 seconds before
there, 2.5 minutes to go.
All right.
My producer.
So before we do that, let me just plug these products while the countdown for the SpaceX rocket ship blasts off. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Get the ubiquinol. This is very high bioavailable CoQ10. You can't get more bioavailable than this. All right. CoQ10 and ubiquinol is really important for your protection for your neurons. It's an antioxidant, and it'll help to boost up your energy levels because it's improving your mitochondrial health, and you'll gain more ATP. NAD plus boosts up your energy levels, and NAD plus helps to repair your DNA damage, and it's neuroprotective. Synergistic with ubiquinol and C60. And since we're talking about C60, you can get it in MCT coconut oil, avocado oil, or an extra virgin olive oil in a 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, or an 8 ounce configuration. C60 is a very strong antioxidant, extremely potent. Take a teaspoon a day, every day, and it'll soak up free radicals, increase the health of your mitochondria, your energy levels will improve, and what will happen is your tissues and your cells will have less stress, perform better, and what will happen is that your endocrine system, your immune system, and your other organ systems will perform better. This is also very important in terms of neural health. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. We got 50 seconds before lunch, and get the C60. Because C60 improves your mitochondrial health, that's why your neurons will perform better, because they'll have more ATP. All right, 36, 34, here we go. All right, so there are 21 seconds to launch. This is the first live SpaceX that I have done.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and lift off. Go Falcon, go Starlink. Vehicle is pitching down brake. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
It's pretty amazing, you know, that the private sector is doing this. And you have these ultra liberals. You have these ultra liberals that keep on demonize Elon.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
You know, they're trying to demonize Elon, but yet if you just listen to what he wants to do, America can be so much farther ahead. But the ultra liberals, they'll keep us down to the ground. They'll just keep us not reaching our full potential. That's what SpaceX represents, is potential. Do we decide to reach our full potential, or do we decide to just sit on our laurels and just depreciate? It's pretty cool. I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible in our lifetime we're going to see.
Main engine cutoff.
It's very possible.
Stage separation confirmed.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And back ignition.
So you have to think big. If we think big, we can do amazing things. But ultra liberals don't think big, they think small. They find ways to say it can't be done instead of actually finding ways to make it happen.
Fairing separation confirmed.
So the point I was making is it's very possible in our lifetime we're going to see
Both vehicles are on nominal trajectories.
we're going to see mankind land on Mars. And it's important, extremely important. I can't tell you how important it is that the United States does it first. Because you do not want to live for the rest of your life knowing that another country did it before you because of stupid ultra-liberal policies holding you back. And this is something that JFK was complaining about with NASA, you know, because JFK was worried that the Russians were going to land on the moon first. So the point is that you don't want to live for the rest of your life under looking at the stars and knowing that your quote enemy got there first. In the United States, our ethos, our destiny.
Andrew Kraft back here, you've been watching this SpaceX launch. It just
our
blasted
destiny
off there from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. It is launching some of these Starlink.
I'm going to pause him for a second. But it is our destiny to be first and to do stuff big. Not China, not Russia, not Israel, not anybody. The big stuff like this, planetary exploration, that's USA. Making the temple, rebooting that, bringing down energy levels from God, that's Israel. That's not the United States.
Somewhat miraculous there, spaceflight. I won't venture to admit to you if I know what's going on. Much smarter people do, and you've been listening to them there on the narration from SpaceX. They put on a really great show explaining how this is done, explaining what the purpose of some of these launches are. So in the meantime, though, we do want to step away from this. If we get any more details on any of the particulars of this specific launch, we'll make sure to bring that to you. All right, I'm Andrew Kraft, 7:15 here Mountain Time there, 6:15 in California. Thanks so much for being with us. We have our eye on some of these other live vantage points. Okay, I may have spoken too soon. Let's go back out. Seems like things picking up there. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to re-enter.
It's going to re-enter
and land like some of the other Falcon 9 rockets do.
I think it's going to land.
All right, I just wanted to let you guys see that. I thought it was quite something.
I don't think this is landing on a chopstick.
Let's step away from this for now. Let's take a quick commercial break. We got a lot in store on this Monday night. Like I said, I'm Andrew Kraft. When we come back, though.
All right. So hopefully, when they go to come back from commercial, we'll see the actual landing. And that'll be the first landing of the booster that I've done on my show. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the natto kinase. Natto kinase is a great product, and it helps to improve your cardiovascular health. Natto kinase will help to break up clots because it's fibrinolytic, but also natto kinase will help to bring down LDL levels and help to increase your HDL levels. So please take natto kinase every day to improve your cardiovascular health. It's synergistic with omega-3. So keep that in mind. And it's also synergistic with D3 and K2, which I'm going to be talking about. Vitamin D3 will help to absorb calcium, It's a gene expression cofactor, so all your cells need it. And also, vitamin D3 will help to get rid of cells that need to go into apoptosis. Really important. But it stacks really well with K2, vitamin K2. And that way you're absorbing your calcium. If you do resistance training, it's going to help you deposit new bone to improve your bone density. But also, this stack can help to reduce calcium depositing in plaque for your arteries. So I have a cardiovascular health longevity box that has a bunch of supplements in there to bring down inflammation, to reduce calcium depositing, reduce LDL levels, bring down free radicals. So take a look at that longevity cardiovascular box if you want to get that. But this stack of D3, K2, and nattokinase is a really good stack to improve your cardiovascular health and to help reduce that plaque buildup. But the more supercharged version of it is the longevity cardiovascular box. So that I have on my store. All the longevity boxes, all of the anti-aging boxes are built to have a discount relative to purchasing the products individually. Plus, you can add discount 5 to any order and you get an additional $5 off. Another supplement that I take every day is Max 14 or Max 35, all right? And it's one of the main pillars of the 4-pillar core protocol. You take a teaspoon a day, swish in your mouth, gargle with it, about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then swallow, and it's going to help to boost up your immune system. So take it every day. If you're not feeling well because of the cold season, take a tablespoon or 2 a day. Do the same thing, swish it in your mouth, gargle, 20, 30 seconds, and then swallow. Very simple. Very, very simple. So please go to my store, get the Max 35 or the Max 14. Take that every day to boost up your immune system.
Ultimately, there was no evidence presented that he broke any laws ever. The witnesses that were promised never materialized. The additional charges that were threatened
This is
never
about
came.
the DOJ moves to drop federal corruption case against the New York City Mayor Adams.
From Adams's attorney there, Alex Spiro, a very high-powered criminal defense attorney. So just reading a little bit more, this is coming in a letter from the acting deputy attorney general, his name Emile Beauvais. He sent a letter to the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, instructing them to drop the federal case against Adams and this is important, to dismiss it without prejudice here. Now, obviously, because we are in just week 4 of the Trump administration 2.0, that is why a lot of these positions and jobs have the word acting in front of them here. Now, remember, previous U.S. District Attorney for the Southern District of New York, remember his name was Damian Williams. He brought this case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, but now they're the DOJ sending this letter to the SDNY, urging them to dismiss the case without prejudice here. Remember, Adams was indicted in September on charges that included bribery, soliciting campaign contributions from foreign nationals, remember the Turkey connection, wire fraud, and conspiracy. Remember, he pleaded not guilty to all of those charges. Now, Fox obtained the memo that Beauvais penned to the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. That memo was titled, quote, "Dismissal without prejudice of the prosecution of Mayor Eric Adams." The memo cites President Trump's executive orders regarding combating the weaponization of law enforcement and federal immigration policy. So this is quite something here. Beauvais instructing the district there to drop the federal case against Adams, and it will be reviewed and reconfirmed by the Southern District of New York after the November 2025 election. Now remember, Adams is up for re-election later this year. There have already been those in his own party and some to his left that are weighing primary challenges against Adams in the Democratic mayoral primary. I believe that's going to be held in June of this year. The general is in November of this year. So it is safe to say, of course, that when the indictment was handed down and these charges brought, Adams was fighting for his political life. And now he could get a huge reprieve in an election year for him. Now, according to David Spun, DOJ top brass believes the case needs to be dropped so that Adams can continue efforts to stop illegal immigration. So that's an interesting illegal immigration angle there. But according to officials, to David Spun, no quid pro quo is going on, but it is believed that at DOJ, the
I'm pretty sure that Adams' tie in that picture that was red, he got it from Brooks Brothers. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the great structural nano silver toothpaste that I have. This toothpaste will whiten your teeth, freshen your breath, help the health of your gum line, reduce inflammation, neutralize pathogens that cause plaque, and by improving your oral hygiene, you're going to reduce the chances of cardiovascular disease and valvular disease. This is a very high quality toothpaste. Has no fluoride, has structural nanosilver in it. Use it every day to improve your oral hygiene. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Get a few tubes of this for your household. It's very high quality toothpaste. This is the best toothpaste that you're going to be able to get anywhere. No one else has a better toothpaste. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the structural nanosilver toothpaste. And lastly, like I said earlier, I have these 4 pillars for the core of this protocol that I've developed. The first pillar is Max 35 and the Max 14 to boost up your immune system. The second pillar is C60 to soak up free radicals. The third pillar is to bring down chronic inflammation. You bring that down by taking turmeric, ashwagandha, and lignans. And then the last pillar of the core is to boost up your energy levels and your metabolism. And you do that with Boomer Boost. Boomer Boost has 68 nutrients, and that nutrient profile you can read more closely and more comprehensively on my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com. I have all the labels there. It's very comprehensive, and it will help with cardiovascular health, brain health. It'll help with your strength and your muscles. It'll boost up your energy levels and boost up your metabolism. You'll lose weight when you take this. Now, this is the way you use it. There's a big scooper in here. You take 1 scooper, mix it with like soft foods like hummus or yogurt, or you can make a smoothie, or you can put it in a shake or mix it with milk or with filtered water. It's up to you. I mix it with hummus, all right? But other people, they make a shake or sometimes put it in a smoothie or whatever. You take it once a day. You take it for your breakfast or your lunch is the best way to do it. And then that's your lunch or your breakfast. You're going to lose weight and you're going to have the energy, and you're going to actually notice that you're sleeping better too. But you do this every day. This is about 1 month's supply. And when you do this every day, what you're going to notice is that your metabolism is improved, you have more energy levels, and you're going to be, because you're more energetic, you're going to be wanting to work out more. You're going to be wanting to move around. And that leads to other great benefits for health. Now you can couple this with the heirloom barley or the gladiator barley to get further benefits. If you couple it with the gladiator barley, you're going to get strength benefits, especially if you do weight training. The heirloom barley is more focused on just the detoxification, reducing inflammation, and soaking up free radicals with superoxide dismutase. But you also get that benefit from gladiator barley. But some people aren't into weight training or wanting to build muscle, so they would prefer the heirloom barley versus the gladiator barley. But the gladiator barley and the boomer boost put together can really supercharge you controlling your A1C levels. That means that you can control diabetes. That means you can prevent diabetes and you can get off of, you can reverse diabetes, all right? With proper diet, proper exercise, and taking the right supplementation, all right? This is a superfood, all right? Especially when you mix it with the high protein density of the gladiator barley, all right? With the gladiator barley, it's just take just like 3 or 4 small scoops, just little scoopers. And then with the boomer boost, you get 1 big scoop. You do that every day. You mix it with your food. Do that every day for breakfast or lunch, and you'll lose weight. And you'll save money, because I'm sure what you spend for breakfast or for lunch every day, if you add it up for a month, costs more than a container of boomer boost and a container of gladiator barley. I'm pretty sure of that. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. It's the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take my advice and get healthy. This is extremely high quality. It has a lot of nutrients that are really going to fuel your body, where you're going to notice that your body is healing, slowing down the aging process, and you're getting that energy that you need to help your body along. Now, what if you notice with people that are geriatric, that have not taken care of their health, their ATP levels start to go down, their muscles start to go down, their bone density starts to go down, their neurological acuity starts to go down, they start having gait issues, lots of problems, all right? But if you work out and you boost up your energy levels, you're gonna have a better immune system, you're gonna have a better endocrine system, you're gonna have better bone density, you're gonna have more muscle. And when you do that, when you get into your geriatric years, you're not gonna feel like you're a geriatric patient. You're literally going to feel like you're in your 40s, but you're in your 60s. Now, would you prefer that? Or would you prefer to be in your 60s and feeling like you're 80? It's your choice. What I am saying works. 100% sure on that. All right, so please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take 2025 as a time to get healthy. It's a holistic approach. It's about proper diet, proper exercise, balancing, stretching, training your mind. That means learning new things, talking to people, reading and writing. It means proper supplementation and mindfulness to calm the body down into a parasympathetic mode. If you're chronically in sympathetic, then what's going to happen is that your cortisol levels are higher, you're stressed out, your glucose levels are higher, and then all of a sudden your immune system goes down. And then when your energy levels are down, your immune system is down, you get a lot of free radicals, and all of a sudden you're aging faster. You actually age faster because of stress. Now, you ever wonder why? Well, I just told you. I just told you the mechanism. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the Boomer Boost, mix it with the Gladiator Barley, and you do some weight training, and guess what? You're going to slow down the aging process and get healthy pretty quickly and control your A1C levels. Now, for ones that are athletes, either younger than 40 years old or even older than 40, but if you're an athlete, you can use Boomer Boost as a fuel source either for your pre or post workout, especially with the Gladiator barley. And you'll get strength gains. You're going to bring down inflammation. You're going to soak up free radicals that you created during your workout. And you're going to help to detoxify your body. So that means that your workout, you're going to recover quicker because you fueled your body. You're going to get the strength gains and the performance gains in whatever sport you're in. But you're also reducing that inflammatory response through that workout. You're bringing down the free radicals that were created by that workout. And you're going to recover quicker. All right. I just gave you a recipe to really get in super shape. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, use discount 5, and you'll get $5 off. I've created a longevity box called Longevity Boost. In that box, you get the Boomer Boost and your choice of Gladiator barley or heirloom barley at a discount. So I built I lowered the price of each of the products within the longevity boxes or the anti-aging boxes, so I can get these products into your hand so you can use them. Because I want you to get healthy. All right? America isn't going to reach to the stars with a bunch of geriatric wastoids. We got to be proactive. All right? You want to reach for the stars? You want to have America, you know, be America first, and you know we're leading the way, leading the charge? Or are we going to be decrepit with canes and, you know, and sitting in rocking chairs going, what if? I'm not a what if person. I'm a person that does. All right? Not a person that going what if. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take a look at the anti-aging boxes. Take a look at the longevity boxes. Buy the individual products and apply this holistic approach to your life, and you're going to get healthy. Thank you for listening. I'm going to end the transmission now. It's been a long day.
Yep, they're conducting the investigation, but no weapons have been recovered at this time.
It's been a long day. That's the shooting that took place in D.C. earlier by the Union Station, I believe. Suspect at large after deadly shooting inside Union Station in D.C. But thank you for listening. Again, I do simulcasts on X Spaces for individuals that want to do a call-in on my shows in the morning or in the evening. But we're going to end the show tonight. But thank you for listening, and have a nice night.